Now I'm going to look at 2 Timothy 1:7 a bit closely. For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Now I'm going to zoom in on this a bit closely because interestingly, when we look at the word fear, we assume it just means fear. But actually, fear in ancient Greek means phobos, meaning fear. And in Greek mythology, Phobos was actually a Greek god. He was actually known as the god of fear. So you can go and look that up. But they made sacrifices to this god, and you can also research that for yourself. But what I want to look at is the word phobos, which actually derives from the word, which is where phobia, derives from. Phobos, meaning phobia. Now, why that's interesting is because we know that phobias are actually an exaggeration of fear. Now, let's look at the images. If we look at the images of this Greek god, it is depicted as a lion. Greek god of fear is represented by a lion's head, which I just thought was very interesting, that the Greek god of fear is represented in this way visually. If we also look at, I'm just going to find it here, 1 Peter 5:8, we see that it reads, Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. So also we see in this scripture that it describes this fear, the devil, as a roaring lion. Just something interesting to look at and keep as a side note. So I just thought it's interesting that he's represented visually as the head of a lion. So just keep that as a side note. Now, the NHS defines phobia as an overwhelming and debilitating fear of an object, place, situation, feeling or animal. It also says here, interestingly, that phobias are more pronounced than fears. So there are exaggerated or unrealistic sense of danger about something. So when Paul is describing the word fear, he isn't just talking about a normal sense of fear. He's actually talking about an exaggerated form of fear. So let's read that again. For God has not given us the spirit of fear or phobia, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. It really does put it into context, and it actually changes what Paul was actually trying to say and where this idea of fear came from. And in 2 Timothy chapter 4, it says, Notwithstanding the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, and that all the Gentiles might hear that I was delivered out of the mouth of a lion. And I just think that wording of lion is very interesting because he uses it again to describe fear or phobia, to be more exact. Now, I just want to draw this study to a close quickly by going to Proverbs 1. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. So I've just highlighted that there just to make a side note. I want to make you realize that the fear of the Lord is a good thing. Fear is not a bad thing when you fear the Lord, because in you fearing the Lord, you want to walk in his commandments. You want to be obedient to the Lord. You want to please the Lord. So in some respects, having a healthy fear towards the Lord is a good thing. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Proverbs 1:7. So we see here that the fear of the Lord is knowledge and it's wisdom. It's not a phobia in this sense. So when we read 1 Timothy chapter 7, we see it in context. So let's just be clear that fear in context isn't a bad thing. Phobias are. If you are frightened of falling out of the window, then you're frightened for a good reason. If you have a fear that your child will jump into the fire, It is a good thing, but phobias are not. God bless you. Bye for now.